Racing and Jesus with your hosts, Daniel Hillian and Mitch Reynolds.
Hey, man, it's episode 51. It is good to be with you, as always, my man, Mitchell the Rocket. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Super D.
Yeah.
Pumped that races have been going on, that the NE-EDT is going to get kicked off at one bad to the bone track this weekend.
I know.
And really looking forward to our guest, Mr. Tyler Allen, today.
Yeah, the Kook.
The Kook man himself. So it's going to be really cool to hear from him and hear about his family and Nicole. They're just a really great family who is really invested in this sport. So looking forward to it, Super D.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. It's going to be fun. He had a good showing last weekend, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Sioux Valley Cycle Club went up there and had a good turnout. A lot of entries. A lot of guys from what we would consider the Midwest Series made the trek up. And man, it was a great weekend.
It was huge. I mean, the line was stacked there. Looked like they had some great racing all weekend there at the Gary Meyer Memorial Race. Dylan Meyer there, his grandson. I got to meet Gary when I kind of got back into the racing world.
Yeah.
Cool guys. Mr. Gary, the late Mr. Gary,
sure.
and Dylan Meyer. He's there. He's big buddies with Tyler, so it's awesome to see such a great turnout for them up there and to have some great racing. Man, that track it's another one of those like top-notch tracks, and they've made some changes since the last time I was there.
Cool.
It's really cool. Really fast track. Some cool split lines. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to see tracks like that just enjoy the ATV racing continue to thrive. I enjoy seeing that.
Yeah.
Super D.
And the Joker lane kind of up there added like hey, we're going into this other option lane, and it was almost like you had three options on this one corner, so that was pretty cool. But hey, man, as always, off the top, love Miss Debbie Bartosik over there at 88 Live to Ride. The auction is coming up. We're a few months away from that there at Loretta, so be paying attention to that. My man, Kevin Allen Cleveland, he's on his way to round 2 of the NE-EDT series. It just passing through, so check him out. All Terrain Motorsports, 110% nutrition. You can use our code REMAIN at checkout. Phoenix handlebars, man, I love the set I've got. The Blue Toad, that's one of the bullet machines. It's got some Phoenix bars on it. Looking to get another set for another build coming. Stay tuned for that. But you can use our code RITR15 at checkout. The Sofa brand stuff, man. Mitch, me and you are a big fan of that. RTRP at checkout. Josh Klein, man, he's putting together some sweet edits, some videos, photos. Check him out, PH3 Photo and Video. And then one of our new sponsors jumping on board, Kaiser Wheels. Yeah, so I'm rocking my new shirt I got in the mail. So thanks to Carter and Wade and the guys over there at Kaiser Wheels. And so if you're interested in purchasing some of these sweet, whether you're a GNCC guy and want to get they've got some sweet bead locks that are stupid light and tough. I mean, they are durable. They're tough. Or if you're like, hey, man, I just need some TT wheels. Well, Garrett had a picture of his machine last year with some Kaiser wheels on there. It looks super sweet. All the bullet machines are running Kaiser wheels. They're super light, super durable. You're really going to like them. So if you're interested in purchasing some of those, you can contact myself, you can contact Mitchell, you can contact Remain in the Race, or you can contact our final sponsor, the one birthday boy, Mr. Rylan Johnson at RJR. He just turned the big 3-0, so we want to wish him a happy birthday. And he is a dealer for Kaiser Wheels, so you can reach out. I would say reach out to him, but you're reaching out to Jamie, his amazing wife that basically keeps that shop running, so shout out to Jamie. Get you some Kaiser wheels. So
sounds good, Super D.
Yeah.
Get you some Kaiser wheels over at Rylan Johnson Racing.
Yeah, man.
I mean, us guys, if you want to shoot us a message, we can get you directed and we can get it set up as well.
Yep, we can get you pointed in the right direction. So, man, but there's been a lot of good racing going on. Again, Black Ankle rained out, so this is going to be really kind of round 1 for the NE-EDT series. Thanks, Torch. And I'm excited, dude. It is an awesome track. Even from when we were there, the East Coast race, the Midwest Series race, we did our Builders Brawl. They had a weekend off, and then the East Coast Series went over there. They made some changes. It looks great. Races went well. Again, shout out to our man Carson Everly. He goes from a heartbreak loss to the top step, man. I was super
and had
pumped.
A handful of cash. You saw that grin. So
he was pumped.
Good for him, man. Just to bounce back. You see that happen. Mm-hmm. You know, he was down in the dumps. Like, man, I threw that one away. But guess what? There's always another race. That's why you got to look beyond right here and right now. We're so focused on you know, being defined by our last performance. Right?
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy it, because the bounce back's coming. If you can have that quick memory, you know, like get ready for the next thing. I think that goes for a lot in life. But that was cool for Carson, just to kind of. We see him do that. He's like, man, you know, I'm not going to, those mistakes, whatever, you know, I'm going to learn from them and then bounce back and perform here. So that was super cool to see him do that. Yeah. And I had gotten some videos from CJ. So one Mr. CJ Robson, you know, he can run equipment. Yep. He knows his way around the track, shows most people around the track, as a matter of fact. But he was sending me some videos of, you know, building a tabletop and changing things. So,
I made it real. So, kind of the corner right before the checkered flag, I guess it'd be two corners before technically, kind of had just a cool little jump there, but it was, people were really getting kind of squirrely off of it. And I think that's where CJ was like, hey man, what if we made a tabletop? And they're like, how? This was literally a practice track for us.
Kelsey was sending that thing. Yeah. Did you see her when we were there at the Midwest? I mean,
I was like,
you could tell she's an MXer, you know, that jump. But she was just absolutely never lifting and sending that thing like 5 bike lengths further than everyone else. I'm like, CJ, like, make this a long tabletop. Put a downside so these TT bikes aren't having to just rake the ground.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the links are just digging into the dirt and making it super rough. But yeah, man, they made some changes, made that big tabletop there, so a lot smoother, a lot more racy. You know, it's not as I guess aggressive of a landing, you know, a little bit smoother, so it makes it a little bit more safer and all those types of things. But
absolutely,
yeah, man, I'm excited. I know Eric will be there. He'll be doing the live stream, so make sure to check out the EDT channel on Facebook to catch up on everything going on starting tomorrow, probably about lunchtime, 11 o'clock lunchtime is when they'll start their practice and stuff. They'll probably do a little practice tonight, I assume.
Yeah, that's the plan, as long as conditions are fine, and I haven't seen anything that points otherwise.
Nope, I think
so they should have a good practice session tonight, and then about 7:30 in the morning, meet up for EDT Church, and Eric will be leading that for us, so I appreciate him stepping up and doing that. So guys, plan on getting together 10, 15 minutes for a good prayer session and some EDT church.
I need to text Eric the awesome little food truck that hooked us up with a bucket truck, because they said, they're like, hey man, we're always here and we use that bucket truck to pull our trailer back and forth, so it'll be there. I need to get Eric hooked up with that, man. That'd be awesome.
Do. So
I'll drop him a text
right after this,
catching a break here. Yeah. But man, it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of good racing, be a good turnout. The weather looks to be great, as from what we can tell as of Friday at 1:29 p.m. I think it's going to be a good time.
Hopefully it'll be good. We know that it's going to be a good racetrack, an awesome design racetrack, an awesome owner, a person who loves ATV racing. Isn't that who we want to support? People who super care about us, care about our feedback, care about us being there.
Yeah.
So I hope it's just huge support for the track. I hope it's a huge turnout and they have a great event, because this guy's not stopping.
Yeah. I know they were worried about parking. Man, there's plenty of room. Man.
Absolutely. They're going to have to manage it well, but it's nice parking. I mean, not going to be in the mud.
It'll be just fine, you know. And they got the water truck, plenty of water, all the things. I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Me too.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about we catch a break here real quick, and we'll be right back with one Kook named Tyler Allen. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, y'all stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, we're glad to be joined by Mr. Tyler Allen, the Kook man himself, so Kook Media House man, as well as world champion ice racer and pro EDT racer, the number 4 from Madison, Wisconsin. Tyler, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Man, it's going good here. We're happy to get you on after your recent race, your race win at SVCC at the Gary Meyer Memorial Race. We know that track's sweet, and you look to be on top of your game there. How'd that weekend feel, man?
Man, it was awesome. Saturday night, we had a lot of people showed up for that one. Garrett Keister, Jace White. It was a really good field there. So we had our hands full for sure. But last year we ran pretty much the entire season out there. I think we missed 1 or 2 maybe races, but that was one of the first nationals that we ever went to back in the day. So that one, I don't know. South Dakota's definitely got a special place in my heart. So yeah, we've done a lot of laps around that place, and we've gotten a pretty good notebook on it. So yeah, that place is always definitely one we look forward to going to all the time, and definitely was a solid weekend for sure.
Awesome. Maybe the fact that it's not a trek halfway across the country too makes it pretty nice too, right?
Yes, sir. Being in Wisconsin, it could be a lot worse. I like to be pretty centrally located for a lot of since being kind of right in the middle of everything. But get up north, going down to North Carolina or anywhere down south, hours definitely add up. So when you kind of get an easy shot straight west, you can't really.
Yeah, not too bad. So Tyler, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your family.
Well, I'm 55 years old now. I've been racing since I was 4 years old. I started riding when I was 3. It's always been a huge family thing for us. We started doing it, like I said, when I was 4 years old. Running the Southern Wisconsin Ice Racing Association. Did that, grew up riding LT50, had LT80, and, went through the line of all that and ended up DRR after a few years. I think it was when I was like 12, 13, 14 area is when we kind of got into the dirt racing stuff. So from 4 then it was racing. So, I think from 4 to 13, 14, it was strictly ice racing stuff. And then just through that, met people who were going to the local dirt track races at Beaver Cycle Club and Ascalon, which are more bike facilities, and it was all district AMA stuff. So a lot of bikes, but they were, Atwater was a great track. You walk across it and it would pull your shoes right off your feet. It's so sticky. So that
Wow.
combined with the ice racing stuff, really set me up for learning how to ride just a really hooked up, tacky track. So nowadays that's definitely like South Dakota will get like that, and it kind of all transcribes along. But like I said, it's always been a huge family thing. We started doing it, and I think we went to our first national when I was 15 or 16, and before it was Pine Lake in Ashtabula was our first one that we went to on my Blaster. And before that weekend, I don't think I even knew what the AMA EDT series was. I never even heard of it before. So I was kind of late to get into it and like all the history of it. But I'm a student of the sport, I'd almost say. And I love the history of everything. So that part of it, I love going back and, looking at some of the old races and stuff. But like I said, I was a little late to it. It was like I said, 15, 16 with first national. And from there on, we were pretty hooked into it. We ran the full, the AMA National Series until whenever, I can't remember exactly what year that was. Everything kind of went away, but we ran it up until the end there. And I think I got one national championship on the 300. And after that, we went to Midwest, did the whole Midwest racing thing for a while. And as of last year, I wanted to come out here and see what we had for the East Coast guys. And, had a blast last year racing on all the new tracks and with a lot of different competition. And we're back again this year, just kind of doing the same thing, running New East and South Dakota and any of the other bigger races that we kind of want to hit. So
I like it. It's going where the competition's at. So when did you build? You ride a TRX CRF hybrid. When did you actually build and get on that machine?
Sir, at the beginning of last year. So I started building it at the end of, would that be the 21 or 2 season? Finished it up over the winter, rode it once or twice on ice, and busted it out at the beginning of last season. So this will be, my first or second season on it now. And it's a 2021 CRF motor, all stock still, which, surprisingly, really enjoying it. And everything about it, you just kind of imagine like your dream TRX motor, how it would feel. And in my opinion, that's what a CRF is like, pretty much out of the box. So I've been loving every minute on it, and
we couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Super D and I have that exact same opinion. It's incredible just the amount of power and responsiveness that those things have just right out of the box. So was Wrath a huge part in putting this machine together? Yeah.
Yes, sir. This Daryl, obviously Daryl's helped me out forever, and at the end of last year, he approached me and said that he wanted to help me out a little bit more, and we kind of put our heads together and came up with a new pro spec A-arm and swing arm that I'm running for this year. And this spring actually been pretty nice to us, other than this past month now up in Wisconsin. So I actually was able to get quite a bit of riding in before this even started, and like I said, I've never felt any better on my four-wheeler before in my life, and I'm probably in the best shape of my life at this point too. So I going into this season pretty confident.
I like it.
Obviously,
best
learn stuff.
Tyler, is it the best mustache of your life as well? Is that part of the success, you would say, for this season?
Yeah, I think so. We've been working on that for a little bit, but I don't know. It kind of just plays into it, and everyone or no one gives me too much crap about it. So
I love it, man.
Hey, even if they do,
it's style right now.
Even if they do, just continue to rock it, man. Sometimes that's the signature thing. The thing that people dislike becomes your signature thing. So rock it, man. Stick with it. So you gave us a good snapshot.
Yeah, no, that's where
Tyler, you gave us a good snapshot of kind of racing to this point. But how did y'all get introduced in the beginning to this? Like, was this, did Chicky find this? Who introduced racing to you?
Yeah, so like I said, we started out running the Southern Wisconsin Ice Racing Association, which is like our local ice racing deal. So it was probably 20, 30 minutes from our house. Back then it was up on Lake Wisconsin. And my parents had a couple friends who did it with their daughters. And actually they're now around doing it with their son now, the Geist family. And started doing it because they kind of just got us into it. And like I said, my parents just got me the LT50 back in the day to rip around on the trails up north, because our family has a little bit of land up north, and it's connected to all the trail systems up there. So I love trail riding. I would out there and just ride until my arms fell off, and I'd be complaining I couldn't push the throttle in any longer because I had such a bad arm pump. But I just couldn't get enough of that. And my parents, my dad studded up a set of knobby tires for me, and we just started going up to Lake Wisconsin every Sunday, and we had a blast. Had a little open trailer and threw the LT50 on it and just sat there and kind of froze our butts off every Sunday. But it was a blast.
So found a passion in what you enjoyed doing, and then found the racing as another love, and then continued to roll with it. So what's your big motivation behind being a part of this community of ATV racing and racing in general? What's your big motivation at this point in time?
Well, obviously it's such great people around at the racetrack. It's one giant family, and it feels like you can't live without them. It seems like it would just be a great thought to not see all these people on a single weekend. Like I said, I love the sport of racing. I think it's so cool, and that's kind of where the whole kookmediahouse kind of came from. Racing was just so cool, and it just doesn't have a platform anymore that to get out there on like on social media stuff. So that's when I stole my mom's camera, was probably 5-6 years ago, and just started taking pictures and developed into, well, why don't I just start taking videos while I'm out here taking pictures anyways. And taught everything. I'm obviously still not great with it, but I do my best, and I like to try and record as much as I can while we're at the races. But you know how it goes when you're a racer and you've got your mind on 100 different things on, what you're going to do to the bike and getting yourself prepared mentally for a race, that kind of the last thing you want to do is go pick up a camera and go sweat out there and, just film for a while. So lately I've been to get better at it and just, suck it up and go out and do it. But a lot of the times I just have to give the camera to whoever is around, whether it be Nicole or a couple of, friends that are around. And a lot of the times it's, they've only held the camera 2 or 3 times. And I'm just like, hey, here's how you start recording. Here's the focus button. Just try and do your best, get what you get, and I'll try and make it look good on the computer when I get home. And kind of what gets posted to the Kook stuff. So, like I said, I'd love to be able to do more of it, but I just kind of struggle with getting into the racer mindset while I'm at the. It's kind of one of the last things I think of. But then, that being said, you get home and there's nothing more. I'm such a nerd about it. I'll sit there and I'll watch every single clip in slow motion for 4 hours straight, just because I love it. And yeah, so.
Well, I know you do a good job putting those edits together. Like, we enjoy every time you put something out, and it's cool. So just keep doing what you're doing, because you can tell that you put detail in the work, because the videos are good. Now, I'm no videographer by any means, but I definitely enjoy, from my perspective, the common consumer, doing a great job, man. So just keep it up. Anything we can do to give EDT racing some exposure and put some good edits out there, heck yeah, we're behind it.
And the thing too, Tyler, is with EDT racing, the speeds at some of these tracks are just insane. But one of the things that is also super cool that I love that you're doing is the slow-mo stuff. Like, watching how the machine flexes and how much the tires will roll going into a corner. I mean, to the average person, they're probably like, oh, that's kind of cool. But for kind of like a nerd like me or Mitch, it's like, man, look at how the tires are. Look at what they're doing. Look at how the sway bar's flexing and putting, doing what it's supposed to do. Like, man, I'm like you, dude. I can geek out on that stuff for a long time. I love it, man. So, we're here for it. And, we definitely want to, whatever we can do to help the sport grow. And it is tough, because I remember when I first heard of Kook and Mitch was like, yeah, that's Tyler Allen. I'm like, no, he's out there racing. And he's like, well, maybe Nicole does it. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. Like, but it's tough to kind of double dip on that stuff.
I definitely like to kind of just hang out in the background. I'm not a big superstar guy. Even like getting me on this podcast and doing this interview is a lot for me. So, like I said, I just like to do it because I think that the sport deserves to be put in a spotlight like that. Yeah. And, like you said, put it in slow motion, you can really, sit and watch at every little detail and, all the different components that go into it. It is just, it deserves the respect. So yeah, I love doing it. And, everyone that, reaches out for me to get videos, they love it too. So yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Awesome. Let's keep this boat rolling. Well, Tyler, besides racing and your media production stuff, what else are your interests? What else are you involved in?
I'm a big fishing guy. If I'm not racing on the weekends or, fixing the quads after a weekend, chances are you can catch me out in the boat or doing something outside. I'm a big outdoors guy. I don't know. Lately we've been pretty occupied just with the whole racing stuff. But yeah, I love fishing. I got a little fishing boat that me and Nicole like take out all the time, and yeah, pretty simple. Other than that, just work and fix race quads.
So what is work for you? What's your 9 to 5, if you will?
I do lawn care stuff. So I do a lot of fertilizing and mowing and all that good stuff. A little bit of landscaping here and there, and in the winters we do snow plowing and removal, and yeah, whatever keeps you busy.
Awesome. That's good. So then I'm guessing a little bit somewhat of a flexible schedule to allow you and the family to travel and go racing pretty often during the spring, summer months.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you introduced us to your family a little bit, but who's your extended family in the racing world? Like, who are your people? I mean, we know it's good to go and catch up and see everybody at the races, but who's kind of in your circle of close friends there in the racing community?
For sure. Obviously, my best friends from, ever would have to be Blaine Stegenga, Dylan Meyer, and, just that whole South Dakota group in general. But they're Blaine's busy doing the sprint car stuff, and Dylan likes to stick around out there in South Dakota. I like to try and drag him out here to one of them this summer, but he's a busy guy with work and everything. But yeah, there's not a lot of people I'm not friends with. CJ and Aaron and all those guys are obviously great friends. When me and CJ were running for Casey there for a couple of years, we I'd say put together a pretty good friendship. And yeah, that's kind of my group I like to hang around with.
So for those listeners that don't know the guys that he mentioned, Blaine and Dylan, both former pro racers. Blaine's primarily racing sprint cars at this point in time, but we saw Dylan race there at his grandpa's memorial race there at SVCC. But some good guys, some dudes that I got to race against that know their way around an EDT track for sure. So you keep some good company and some good competitors for that matter.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You like to keep your enemies close, right?
That's right. That's for sure. What Super D and I have referenced that quite a few times. Like, you get out on the racetrack, you put your helmet on, like, you're going to go at it, doesn't matter, and you're going to come off the racetrack and your buddies again. But when we put the helmet on, it's time for business, and business is business, baby. And we're trying to get the top spot. So no disrespect to our buddies, but that is what they are. They're kind of our enemies when we put our helmet on. So.
Yep. When the helmet goes on, it's a whole nother ball game. But yeah, no, I love them all like family, and yeah, like I said, wouldn't know what to do without them. Talk to them every day and wouldn't change it.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit more to life. So just a question for you. Give us an example of a time that you faced adversity and how you handled that. That can be pertaining to racing, to life. Just kind of tell us, the mental things that you go through when you face adversity, or how you go about life when life throws you challenges.
I'd say a good example of that would just be, the best example I'd probably say would be the switch going into the pro class. It's the most educational ass kicking you'll ever receive is one of my favorite quotes I've heard about that. You'll get kicked down and kicked down and kicked down, but every single night is you just got to take it as a learning lesson. And if you don't learn anything from it, I guess you're just not doing it right. So it's just, I like the mindset of just, never giving up on, the goal that you have in mind, and just, like I said, doing everything you can to get the job done. Yeah.
I like that you said that a lot. So I've heard it quoted kind of this way: we don't lose, we learn. So obviously, as competitors, we want to win. We want to win every time that we're out there, but we can't win everyone. I mean, there's one winner and there's 19 other guys, or even more in a class, but there's 19 other guys in the main who are trying to do that same thing. And if you're not the guy on the top of the box, like, you've got to learn. Like, you've got to continue to push and know what you need to change as far as competition. Is really cool. In our last interview, we had Carson Everly on, who really, as far as the racetrack is concerned, faced adversity. He had the race won, and just kind of got between his ears a little bit and threw the race away. But then they had the big Super Mini shootout, I guess it was last weekend, wasn't it, Super D? That he bounces back and he wins the thing and goes home with a lot of cash. So that was just kind of a cool picture of, man, you just kind of have to get over your last mistake. You just learn and do the best you can each week. And that would be my big recommendation to people. Sometimes I got so focused in on the performance part of it that I missed the fun in it or the learning. You know, you just get so focused on not being content with how you're doing, which you've got to have that competitive spirit to try to push yourself and elevate yourself all the time. But ultimately being able to step back and say, you know what, the weekend didn't go exactly how I pictured it, but you know, we're safe, and you know, here's how I need to change and learn so that, hey, I can continue to improve and then get to that top spot like you were just a week or so ago.
Great. Racing is just a bunch of highs and lows, you know. You got to chase the highs and beat off of the lows every time. You know, you just can't. If you let one bad night, you know, just absolutely tank you, you won't last very long. You know what I'm saying? You just always got to be, chasing those highs, because they do feel good when they come around.
Those are wise words, my friend, wise words. Well, before we get off here, is there anything else that you'd like to share, or anybody you would like to thank that's gotten you to this point in time?
Yeah, for sure. I got a whole list of people here that help out the program, and, you know, we couldn't do any of it without them. So first and foremost, I got to thank my mom and my dad and my girlfriend, Nicole, for just everything that they put into the program and keeping the head straight at the track, getting us to the track, feeding me, and, you know, the whole program and everything at home. Just, obviously number one. And we'll do Kookmediahouse, Daryl and Jennifer Rath, and the rest of Rath Racing, obviously for the continued support over the years. We got John Budnick with B&B Power Sports doing all the tuning on my CRF. I know I did say everything was stock, but John's got does all the dyno and got the thing running just absolutely perfect these days. And Dustin Martin with QI Hybrids, Nate McNett with McNett Performance, Danny Walton, Jet Lab, Players Sports Bar, the Geist family in Cartopia, Stan Otis at Club Lamar, Patrick Edmonds with 75 Designs, Vitesnik's Mad City Power Sports, Shooter Speed Shop, Hoosier Tire Midwest, Midwest Marine and Barge, K&D Stone, CR Power Sports, Four Lakes Lawn Care, Fulton Counter Whitetail Outfitters, Hinson Clutch Components, Wiseco, Motool, Evans Coolant, DP Brakes, Fast House, Bell Helmets, Douglas Wheels and Tire, Forworks Carbon, ODI Grips, Renthal, Larry Strangfeld Ice Tires, Cold Cutter, and just all the other friends and supporters that I've got. You know, we couldn't do it without that list of names right there.
Absolutely. That's a great list of names, and you're a good guy to be tied to. I mean, you're a good representative of those companies, and man, we wish you the best of success this year, Tyler, as kind of y'all get the first neat race kicked off tomorrow. Man, we wish you the best of luck and just continued success, and that, man, you get to enjoy the ride.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate it, you guys. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for having me on here. This is you guys got going on, and yeah, kind of like the Kook stuff. It's just putting it out there for more people to see, and it's great. Keep it up.
Absolutely. Likewise to you, my friend.
Hey,
appreciate it, sir.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can do this weekend.
All right, man. Well, hey, that's Tyler Allen. We're going to catch a break real quick, and we'll be right back, so y'all stay with us. Man, again, thanks to Tyler Allen, dude. And he is at the track. He is there. And as a couple of guys that have been there recently, the best place to get signal is to get in the food truck's bucket truck and go up as high as it'll go and live stream. That's how you get signal there. So,
right.
Yeah, thanks to the Kook for coming on. Man, he's just a genuine guy, just down to earth. But I meant to bring this up, but I'll bring it up now since he's not on. His riding style looks like he has zero, like it is loose, and I love it. Like when I watch him ride, I'm like, he has zero control. But he's smooth. It's not like that. It's just like his body English. So it's not like elbows up in attack position. It's just kind of off the back, just willy-nilly.
If there's a spectrum, I'm going to kind of paint this. If there's a spectrum of riding styles,
yeah,
I'm on this end.
Yeah.
And Tyler Allen defines the total opposite end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like one man who crawls from front tire to rear tire, from Nerf bar to other Nerf bar, to one guy who sits in a spot in the seat and never moves.
Yeah. And what's crazy is y'all are about the same size, probably same weight, same size.
We are. And
that's
man,
crazy,
like,
man.
I couldn't imagine. I think my style really evolved from being so small when I was a kid.
You had to.
I had to just lean off the side. So on these hooked up tracks, the bike wouldn't just take and pitch me, right?
Yep.
But Tyler's figured out how to ride on a hooked up track while sitting in the seat and just pitching the thing sideways and being fine. If I rode that way, I would wreck. It's incredible, though, that you can have all these different styles. He reminds me a lot, if you remember the number 038 of Michael Coburn.
I sure do.
You know, where it's just, this guy would just pitch it. And he was from that, up there in that same area, not Wisconsin, but South Dakota. I kind of call those, you know, the northern states up there in the north,
right?
That were similar. And it is crazy, like, how many different ways you can go fast. In all honesty, you can have all these different styles to go fast, but definitely, I mean, he's made it work for himself.
I know. Well, watching a couple weeks ago up there at Sioux Valley, I'm getting there. Just watching the videos of people that were posting. I know Brandy Tulu was there. She had some videos. Ms. Little Man Syrup Company had some videos there as well. And so I was trying to tune in as best I could, and it was so crazy watching Garrett, Tyler, and Jace, because Jace is pitch and slide the thing all over, and he'll kind of hang off the side a little bit. I mean, he kind of rides off the back of the foiler. Garrett is like full attack mode, like elbows up, leaning forward, like he'll move his butt a little bit to one side or the other, but he doesn't go front to back a lot.
Right,
on the seat.
Kind of neutral there.
Kind of neutral, yeah. And Tyler's just sitting on the bike, just out for a ride. Just out for a ride. And I'm like, you couldn't get three totally different riding styles. And there was a couple of those races, especially depending on how the lines and everything. I mean, they're nose to tail, you know, for laps at a time. And I'm like, this is so exciting to watch. You know?
It is.
So.
Well, you got to think setting up the chassis for Tyler is probably pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because he disrupt the chassis a lot. So once you can kind of get that base set up and work it, like, your rider is not going to mess that up a lot. So so Nate, doing his suspension, the guys kind of working his stuff over, and Wrath, kind of them redesigning some A-arms. It's got to be nice to have a guy like that. Like, I didn't think about it when I was riding, because I just kind of make the machine do what I want it to do, right? Not that I don't tweak on things, but I'm the kind of guy that's disrupting or redirecting the chassis constantly. So he's got to be like a great test guy, really. It's like, hey, let's try this, and you're going to kind of get the same production out of the rider each time. So you're going to get really true, measurable consistency. So you got to appreciate that in his style. I could never ride that way, but because I'm at the total other end of the spectrum.
Right.
But anyway, it is super cool, and what a cool guy! Like, you know, he's into detail when you look at his edits, and you know, he talks about just sitting there and watching slow-mos for 4 hours on end, trying to put together these clips. He does a great job with it too, and just kind of his thought process is as hard as, if you will, for the racing community. He's like, man, like, this community is so cool. The family here is so awesome. I love doing this sport, and they deserve some recognition, and that's kind of what we do here too.
Yeah, and it's even cool. We didn't really get into it a lot, but I mean, he does this with his family.
Yes, he does.
You know, I mean, it's mom, dad, girlfriend. They're loading up, traveling from Wisconsin to southeast Tennessee. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a long haul, dude.
They made a trip actually down to Florida when they had that world race. One of my last TT races, I guess, was the combo. But they made the trek all the way down there. It's like, wow, traveling all the way from the northern part of the U.S. to the southeastern part.
Wow,
that was pretty cool. I mean, that was quite the trek for them. But they got to love it. You know, if you're that committed, kind of like Mr. Frank Batista and driving 48 hours. The love of this sport, man. Like, you know, people think driving 10 and 12 hours is crazy. No. But this sport, the way it just hooks you in, it's crazy. Yeah. But Super D, I want to hit a little transition here. We talked a little bit about adversity there with Tyler, and he talked about, you know, you've got to learn. Like, part of racing And part of life is you are going to get challenged, you're going to fail, and you ultimately have to learn. But I think it all comes down to like an inward thing, right? That inward man and the right mindset. So it just makes me think of contentment, Super D. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be content? Or what does content mean?
For me, man, when I think of content, it's one of those things, it's just being who you are and being comfortable in that. So that could be in the situation you're in, your life. Now, should you always strive for more? Yeah,
As a competitor, yeah.
Absolutely. But at the same time, and I think Tyler said it great. He said, man, you're going to get beat. Like you're just, unless you're next level, you're just going to get beat. But understand
everyone gets beat at some point in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people took a lot of beating to get to the point of being a Brad Riley, a CJ Robson, a Chad Ween, and Joel Hetrick.
Yeah.
The list of names goes on, but those people all faced adversity. Those people all faced challenges. So, there can be that confusion between content and complacent. Like as competitors, we don't want to be complacent, like just an idle body.
Yeah, I think an Eeyore complacency. I think an Eeyore. It's just kind of like, oh well, you know, and that's what comes to mind. That's not exactly accurate, but that's
racers don't typically have that mentality. Like you don't last long if you're a complacent person.
If you're complacent, you're gonna go. Okay, I'll go spend my money and do something else.
I think of content is. There's never enough. Like that mindset of I will never have enough. Well, when I have this, I will be happy. Yep. Well, you're always going to set yourself up for failure,
right?
Because you're never going to have enough. Content is saying, "Hey, I am who I am, and I'm happy with where I am.
Right.
I am, no matter the situation. Like it's fine. It's all good." I think ultimately to have that right perspective of being content and happy with where you're at is knowing that there's something other than just us. Like there's a higher power than us. And we speak of this often, acknowledging that there is a God, that we have a relationship with him through Jesus, and knowing in whatever situation or circumstance that we're in, that God ultimately has a purpose in it. So knowing that there's a power higher than yourself, like you're not the end all be all. If newsflash.
No, I think that's great. And this is something I try to communicate to my students. I try to remind myself of it, is that, as you're growing, even as a young racer, man, I just remember thinking, if I could just have fill in the blank. Like if I could just have that part, if I could just have that chassis, it's always, wanting the next big thing or whatever it was, that's what would do it. And even for like my students, I can remember being in high school and be like, man, if I could just had that truck, if I just had, that cell phone, if I just was with that group of friends, you're always thinking about the next thing. What's new? What's next? It doesn't matter what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, you'll get those things and you will not change. And the example I use with my students was when I was in middle school, mongoose bicycles were like all the rage, man.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a mongoose.
You had a mongoose?
Yes.
Okay. So I can remember just thinking, man, dude, if I get that, and it was called a hoopty mongoose, chrome pegs, street tires. We lived out in the woods, but
I definitely had a hoopty.
Yeah. And I just remember if I had that hoopty mongoose bicycle, like, dude, I would be like, I'd probably have it. Yeah, I could probably have a girlfriend on the front and riding on the back pegs. That's what I'm thinking. And dude, everybody at school be like, dude, look. Well, guess what? At Christmas, you know who else got hoopty mongoose bicycles? Me, along with all the other weird kids. And it was like, it made zero difference. And I used that story. I said, I know this is kind of a dumb story, but it's one of those things I literally remember thinking, if I just had that, and saw it on the shelf,
have made
if
it.
I had
that would make me.
That's what, and then I think like in my life now, how many hoopty mongoose bicycles have I put before? Just be who God created you to be, man.
Absolutely.
And when you can live into how you're wired and how you're created, you don't need that. You already have it.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And that's where you find that you can have the right perspective and know all this other stuff isn't going to make me feel any different. Having a nice truck isn't going to make me feel it. Having the nicest Ford, it isn't going to make
maybe for just a minute or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's temporary. It's a temporal thing. That's for sure.
Yep.
But contentment, it is a heart thing of saying,
yes.
hey, I am fine where I'm at. And we live in
Absolutely.
a society that is always pushing the new, the best, the
What's
more,
new, what's
you know.
next.
I mean,
Yep.
you think your vehicle's nice and you're good with it for a little bit, but then you see an advertisement of, oh, I need that one, you know. So
Tesla truck.
we're always
Yeah.
needing.
Or Cybertruck, sorry.
Wanting a little bit more.
Yeah.
But man, when you really experience contentment, and I battle with this at times, definitely have battled with this through my life.
My hands raised right now. I still do. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm standing up there, and I'll tell the students, I'll tell our congregation, like, hey man, as much as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. Like I'm jacked up like everyone else.
Absolutely.
All I'm asking is y'all come struggle with me. You know,
That's right.
I just have to stand up and talk about it. It's the only difference. You know.
Yeah, which is one of the worst fears, death.
Oh, yeah.
Death in public speaking.
Yeah,
So
come
you
on
know,
with
kudos for you for doing
Yeah.
that. I want to read a couple passages here. So this first one is in 1 Timothy 6. So this is Paul writing to his protege Timothy.
Right on.
Chapter 6, verses 6 through 8, he says, "True godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. After all, we brought nothing with us into this world, and we can't take anything with us. So if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content."
Yep.
So
I like it, man.
true godliness with contentment. So it's not just contentment that we need. Yes, contentment is important.
Right.
How do we get godliness? By having a relationship with Christ.
Yep.
And that gives us the right perspective. You know, he follows up with those verses like don't get hung up on the hoop de mongoose
Exactly.
in your
Yes.
life, right?
Yes. Yep.
Focus on what really matters, and what really matters are those relationships.
Yeah.
That's what we preach around here, isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's so funny because I was having a conversation with one of my dearest friends. I mean, like, well, I was in the truck driving, and they were driving, and I was just visiting with him, and we were literally talking. That's so funny that we were talking about this. Thanks, God. But we were talking about
God sightings, I love them.
yeah, and just how important friendships are. And I said, there's probably, and I'm just one of those, and people are different, you know, like Emily wants to go be super, 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 super close friends with like 2 people.
Yeah.
Me, I want to have 500,000 surface level relationships. Like I want to know a little bit about everybody.
Yes,
Not like a nosy way. Like I want to know your name and kind of where you're from. And hey man, I'll see you at the next, like because
You want to know everyone.
yeah,
Yes,
I
you
do. And that's what Emily's like, oh my God, that's exhausting. And I'm like, well, I would rather just know people's like surface level stuff where Emily's like, man, I just want to go be super, super like deep with it. She said, I want that friend that just comes over and just hangs out while I do laundry. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I don't ever want to go to any of my friends' houses while they do. And I think that's just the difference between, you know, men and women.
Absolutely.
But you have to have whichever, you know, you're talking about your riding style between you and Tyler. Well, whichever friendships you are, whether you want the super deep relationships with 2 people or a bunch of servers, like understanding that the relationships are what's important, not
Absolutely.
necessarily how many or how deep they go. But just being connected with people, you know, that's where I find my energy, my value is the people I'm around. And like when they can celebrate, like I'm happy for it. Like I can celebrate with them.
I love it.
You know, and when they're down, like I get down too. That's why, like, when we talked about this in our last episode with Carson and Connor, as happy as I was that, hey, Connor got that win, I was crushed for Carson. I'm like, man, dude, I hate that for, you know, because I care about him as much
Time
as
heals wounds, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And a win definitely heals
yeah,
those
and then he
wounds.
comes back 2 weeks later and wins it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was awesome for Carson. But yeah, I think maybe just, you know, with spiritual maturity and understanding, you know who God is and how He works, and just the preconceived notions of, well, why did God allow that? You know, and it's like, no, it's not about that. It's just be the person God created you. We don't have to complicate. Even Jesus said, man, the kids can understand it. It's not hard.
I like that you said maturity. So it
Yeah.
takes time. It's not just like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want that. Like, boom. Like I'm
Yeah.
having a relationship with Jesus. Now I have everything, right?
Yep.
Yes, you have your sins atoned for, but really that transformation or that change in the person takes time. It takes time. You've got to spend time with Him. You got to spend time in the Word and allow Him to really mold and change you. Listening, you know, everything that you consume kind of directs and changes really who you are.
Yeah.
So, you know, us as Christians, we have to we just looked at those scriptures that Paul wrote to Timothy, right?
Right.
On how we're instructed to conduct ourselves and how we should go about contentment. I want to look at one other set of passages, Philippians 4:11 through 13. Philippians 4:13 is quoted often.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to do the couple verses in front of it just to kind of show the context of what Paul is referring to. He
Give
says,
it to me.
Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it's with a full stomach or starving to death, or with plenty or with a little. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength.
Yeah.
So who gives him the ability to be content, whether he's being beat in a prison, or he's hanging out with his buddies, whether he's starving or is at a feast, whether he's got a lot of money or he's broke. He said, because I know that my life is more than that situation or how I feel in that moment. My life is more about having a relationship with Christ, and that's how you're ultimately content.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. And I'm just to that place in my life now. I'm like, hey, things are going to work out or they're not, and either way, like, it's going to be fine. Like, it's not there's tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Absolutely.
Know? And I love that, and I think that's one of the things that I love about the sport and just how I perceive it is. Whoever wins, I'm pumped for whoever wins. Like, it doesn't bother me. And whoever loses, I know they're going to come back firing next weekend,
Yep.
I love what it is and where it's the impact it made on me as a kid.
Absolutely.
I want that for all of our youth and dads that are racing with their kids and moms that are at the track, and some moms race too, and daughters and everything. Like, that's so cool to have that bond and to have those memories.
That time aspect leads to maturity, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
If you interview the Super D and Mitch of 20 years ago, it's totally different. It's some guys who enjoy life and are having fun, but probably a lot of discontentment there, right? Like, it's win or nothing type deal.
Yep.
But you step back years later and you're like, man, those were some great memories. They shaped, they molded me. And it's why we do what we do today, and why we're doing this podcast. It's like, we just want to shed some light on that. I think everyone through all levels of life has something to learn from that.
Yeah.
And racing does teach you a lot about life.
That's right.
So,
and that's why we have guys like Tyler Allen come on. Hey, share your story. And he's like, here's who I am. Here's what I do. And I just love it. I love everything about it. So it makes it fun, man.
Absolutely. So that's the challenge to us all, Super D.
Yeah, I agree.
Be content. No matter the day, the time, the situation, the circumstance, be content with where God has you and make sure you're fulfilling the purpose that he has for you. Because, like, what do you say? God made you on purpose for a purpose.
That's exactly
right. That's great words from one wise man.
Yeah, once wise man once said, yeah. Well, this will be coming out. Are we dropping this today, tomorrow?
Hey, listen.
Sooner the better?
The sooner the better. You are the editing man, so that's up to you. I'll can work the stuff on the computer here. And
so this is Friday, June the 7th. So there's guys on the way to the Just Passing Through for round 2 of the NEAT series. There's friends. Tyler's already there. I know Eric Ashcraft is already there. And so, man, the next time we jump on, it'll be to talk about all the exciting things that happened from Just Passing Through. I know it was great the last time we talked about it, so we'll see what happens at this one coming up.
It's going to be good. That racetrack is bad to the bone, and we're going to have some good racing to talk about. So looking forward to it, Super D.
Well, yeah, man. Anything else you want to say before we close out the 51 here?
I can't think of anything necessarily except for people to get out there to EDT Church, connect with each other. Yep. Again, as always, you need any direction in life, need somebody to pray for you, anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out, because we're here for you.
That's right.
All right? That's for sure. All right, I'll go ahead and close it out, Super D. Father God, thank you for everything you've done for us. God, continue to work in us and help us to be content in whatever situation you placed us with. God, help us each day to say yes to you and where you've directed us in life. Lord, I pray for safety for all those traveling and the racers, that you'll watch over them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Well, hey, that's a wrap. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.